No better place to be than right here, right now. It's Crossing Lines on a Thursday, the opening of the NFL season. Not regular season, but preseason football. It is a season, and we're ready to get after it. I'm Donnie Rightside. He is Jeff Nadu. We are Crossing Lines, rolling along in the month of August. We finally have live bullets flying on the TV today. A huge stacked up lineup for us. Why? We're going to talk Major League Baseball, yes, but today is about football. Today is about the game to be played at the Hall of Fame game between the Carolina Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals. Today, we're going to have a featured guest talking with Jeff Nadu about Heisman Trophy candidates and where we can check in. You want to be here. This is why you're here. 12 noon Eastern every single day, Monday through Friday. It's Crossing Lines, Jeff. We're fired up, ready to go.
The best player and the most exciting player that we look forward to see isn't going to play. Awesome.
Always, man. Again, somebody, which I'm old. I'm almost, closing in on 50 years old in a couple years. But the tweets always hit the same, Jeff, when you line this up. Cardinals, Panthers. Football feels good. They'll snap it. And this game absolutely sucks. But it's football, Jeff. We rejoice. Yeah. It's back. Love it.
Yeah, that's all you really care about.
Yeah,
again, I feel like, again, like this is, we're getting into LeBron territory with this game. We've done 4 straight shows where we just start with like, oh, the game's coming. It's like, oh, okay. Like, what are we actually going to, like, it's here, right? But like you and I later will try to break it down. And then it's like, what do you really break down? I mean, you look at the number in this game, 1.5. I mean, that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
I guess you just make Carolina a favorite because they have Kenny Pickett and the other team doesn't. I don't know.
I mean, it's like Jeff, put it in your world terms in college basketball. They give you Kentucky Duke and they go up to the first TV timeout, Jeff. Then you have no idea what the rotation is or who's playing here. Good luck on that.
Yeah, and the hardest thing about the NFL is like, look, if I capped Summer League, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which I don't anymore. Like, I could probably look at a team and say, okay, well, I know what I know about these guys in college. They're just better than the other roster. There's so many players in the NFL because of what? There's three levels of like first string, second string, third string. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know shit about the third string left guard on the Lions. He's probably, or the Panthers or whoever. Yeah. It's just a lot harder to do. So yeah, if look, I don't mind capping preseason maybe week 2, right? Where maybe you have some sort of semblance of maybe like the first half or something.
Correct.
But you have a game here where after like the first series, it is literally going to be guys who literally in a week or two, it's funny. At the end of Friday Night Lights where Billy Bob's in the hall, halftime, and he's discussing like in a half hour, most of you will never play football again.
Yes.
Right. And that's a somber notion because like most of those kids never played football again. And that's just a sad reality about high school. But there are guys in this game tonight that probably there's at least one that will never play football again after this. Like it's highly likely. That's the kind of talent you're getting. You're getting guys just to like fill practice voids and stuff. So yeah, it's tough, but it's nice to see who we have. Mike Tirico.
Gotta be Tirico, right? It's gotta be, right? Sunday Night Football crew.
Chris Collinsworth. Yeah. That'll be great. He's back.
Move him in, man. Move him in. Yeah, he'll be sliding in right next to him here, and away you go tonight. But it's just interesting because Kenny Pickett gets like the ceremonial start. Then it turns into Haynes King, which I always like preseason football with a guy that can actually move a little bit with the legs. And there you go, a little Friday night action there, Friday Night Lights action, I should say. Getting the boys ready. I'm going to assume, Jeff, that was the game before they played Dallas Carter. I'm thinking that's the Astrodome game right there.
Yeah, well, no, that was the game. Yeah, that wasn't the Astrodome game because they were a little bit more beaten up in that game. That's, I want to say, after they lose to, they lose that final pre-playoff game where like
Booby's in there by the way, so it can't be right. 45.
Oh yeah, there he is. 45. Yep. Okay, so that's probably it's early in the season. Then that's before he gets injured. That's the first game.
There's Big Christian, number 90 down there, bottom left-hand corner. Man, come on now, superstar team.
I watched that film recently, and I obviously they took creative liberty, but like
they did
pretty good with it. It's a great film. Billy Bob, that's a different role for him generally.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got screwed in that Dallas Carter game. And when the ball like bounces off the turf, it's like, ref, is it a catch? It was a catch, ref. It's like, No, it wasn't. It completely
because
bounced
like
off
when
of
the real story is they actually didn't make it to the state championship game against Dallas Carter. They played them in Texas in Austin, where at Ladau K Royal Stadium in a rainstorm, and they really could have won that game. It was
a really low-scoring game.
Exactly. A block punt. Permian actually had the lead in that game. And if you remember, Jeff, similar to that, Dallas Carter did have a catch that wasn't really a catch in that game that they allowed as a catch because, late 1980s, not having instant replay in high school football. It's great theater all the way through. But as we get towards football season, Jeff, I find myself wanting football, and the cable guides are bringing up all the back to school with Rodney Dangerfield. It's going to start popping on your television in about 2 weeks here. Why? Because it's back to school and back to football, man. You get all this stuff here. I enjoy it. I do. It feels good tonight. It does.
Yeah, it does. And it feels like there's a different. I tell you what, something about my life where look, when a certain date comes, my life just becomes different, right?
Yeah.
Whatever happens. It's but football's here. You did your list. I didn't do mine.
Yeah.
After watching Friday Night Lights, from a sheer standpoint of football, I don't think there's any better football movie. There's a lot of football in the film too.
Do you know what I really like about this? Because I love the book, so I wanted to like the movie, and it wasn't hard. Sometimes you're oh, this is bad. I thought the people played the parts extremely well for who Mike Winchell was in that, who Boobie Miles was, who obviously the coach was. Now, granted, Billy Bob Thornton did a fantastic job, and he was a little bit over charismatic to the guy that they actually had, but I thought it fit well. You know what you love about football movies? Bring me right in, Jeff. You watch the first 5 minutes of Friday Night Lights, you are invested the entire way. I thought they did a great job of opening that up for how big Texas football is and how great that movie was. You're right.
It's really, really, really well done. I don't know if there's a flaw with the film at all. I mean, even the Billingsley character, his interactions, McGraw is a great character in that film. It's kind of a sad thought. He's just kind of wants to forget his life about his old life. But in real life, from what I understand, the Billingsley character, his father was actually a legend in that area, right? I actually looked up the team now. They're still very good, weirdly. They never lose a beat. I think they won their conference last year.
They hit it. They actually, Jeff, the year after that film, which was based on their 1988 season, they, for a 3-year stretch, were one of the best teams in America. Stoney Case was a famous quarterback in college football. He was their starting quarterback there. But Comer, the next year, man, hit the gas pedal as a really good running back, man. He's portrayed as fourth string, I'm scared and I'm timid, which really wasn't the fact. We had to play into the story, but he really was a good running back in high school.
You know who went to Permian as well?
Roy Williams.
Roy Williams, yeah. The receiver,
Yep.
He was a great receiver in the mid-2000s. Where did he go to college? Texas, I think?
Went to Texas, then went to Detroit, then to Dallas. Yeah, I've looked back so many times. They have the 25th anniversaries with Buzz Bissinger and all those guys. I always love to read about to see where they are now, where they ended up at that point, so...
And we don't talk enough. We do have to call space, right? Boobie Miles, ultimate scumbag. I mean, if we're really being honest, did some real bad shit in his life. Yeah. And he's paying for it now. He's in prison currently. So, it's a great film, though. I always watch it every year, usually. It's great. Really well
when done. It's on, I love it. The wife yells at me that it's on. I always want to replay it here, Jeff, and that's the way it is.
How those Dallas Carter guys look like they're in their 40s.
Yeah, come on now.
Film. It's Jesus Christ. They look like they're in the NFL.
How can you compete at that point? Yeah. Now, granted, if you ever read about the Dallas Carter, storyline themselves, they had Jesse Armstead, Miami Hurricanes was on the team. They had 7 or 8 true Division I players that smashed everybody. And if you want, again, sometimes you go off on a tangent, but it's great stuff that Jeff brought up. Look in the Dallas Card and what happened to those kids and what went down at that point where they weren't supposed to play. There was grade fixing there. They were sensational. There were armed robberies where some of these kids never even got to go to college. Crazy stuff.
There's a great 30 for 30 on that. Yeah. What Carter lost, I think it's called. Yeah. Yep. Very, very, very good. But look, lot of revel behind the film, just all sorts of cool, interesting stories. So check it out. But football's here. We're excited.
We're ready to go for it. Again, tonight, they are going to kick off at 8 p.m. Eastern, as Jeff brought up the start. Rookies, you usually want to get them involved. Hey, Carson Beck's going to get the start tonight. He's a rookie. He needs reps. You know they're telling you doesn't need reps tonight? That's Jeremiah Love, but it's going to be Beck, Pickett. And by the way, Pickett's only supposed to be in for a couple snaps, then Haynes King comes in. Beck will probably get a good majority of that first. Gardner Minshew doesn't need any time. Brissett doesn't need any time. So Beck's probably going to get a lot of time in game number 1. But Jeremiah Love, 3rd overall pick rookie, he ain't getting any playing time tonight in this game, Jeff. He's out.
Yeah, and that's kind of disappointing, right? Because he's a guy who, obviously a rookie. You'd want to kind of see him just because, he was so great at Notre Dame and he's kind of that new guy. But yeah, I mean, you're going to see. I mean, Keaton Slovis probably going to get some run in this game.
USC action. Let's go.
Who else are you going to see in this game? I mean, I can't wait for the people that will be like, oh, we're going to get Kenny Pickett for at least like a quarter, so I'm going to bet them in the first half here.
Because he knows how to handle the football and not a rookie here. And it's like, wait, Kenny Pickett just handed off 3 straight times and they punted and he's out of the game? Damn it, there goes my handicap, Jeff.
Yeah, this is like watching, what would be the equivalent of this? I'm trying to think of the equivalent of this. This is like
spring training, game number 2? Like, hey, Bryce Harper's not even going to play for another 2 weeks in spring training, so get used to it. Players, Jeff, 111 as their jersey in baseball. Come on.
Yeah, I equate this to like a spring game in college football, right? Yep. Like Ohio State Scarlet against the White or whatever. Yep. Look, all these guys, you don't want to see these guys in the season because that means something bad happened to your team, right? Now, for Carson Beck, we may see him a lot sooner than maybe we might think. So, I think Arizona's goal is to be as bad as possible, obviously. But
it's like scheming in this game. Like, again, Love won't be there, but you are going to put a game plan together. Kenny Pickett doesn't get any game plan. Maybe Haynes King gets a little bit, but they do want to see what Carson Beck has. So this isn't like, hey, let me see, go out there and hand off 8 times and don't get injured. I do think there will be some offense from Arizona, but it's hard to quantify how much you're going to get and the offense, because he's not playing with starting offensive linemen, starting wide receivers, starting tailbacks. They're all backups and young kids as well.
I'll tell you, and maybe I'm just being rudimentary, basic. How does this game get to 35?
I don't know, man. Did you see that, by the way, the 20-year average, Jeff, of the Hall of Fame game? 32.7 points.
Yeah, look, we're not, necessarily throwing out picks or anything, but look, I'll have a few dollars on the under in this game. Just because, again, like, where do the points come from, right?
Correct.
Because when you look at teams like this, obviously one of the reasons they're bad a lot of the time is don't have good offensive lines. Things just kind of break down a lot. Ball can't – look, if you can't move the football, you can't score, right? It's pretty simple. Quarterback play, you have a rookie on one side. You have a guy in Pickett who, if we're just being honest, I mean, he's never been anything special. No. We're not going to see Brissett. We're not going to see any big playmaker in this game. No one on these teams from a depth standpoint really moves much for me. So, I would have liked to have gotten like a 35.5 if it was out there, obviously being a key number, but I still feel like this is like first to 17 wins. I'd love to. What was last year's Hall of Fame game? Who was in
I don't even know. Like, I don't even remember, like, the teams. I guess whoever the Hall of Fame was where your team got inducted last year was the Hall of Fame game. I don't even know. But
Lions Chargers. Mm-hmm. That game was played back on July 31st last year.
Yeah, got it in
that
early,
game, 34-7.
Ooh,
Trey Lance had a big game, I remember. Yeah.
There you go.
Remember that?
By the way, Jonathan Taylor rings the cash register here as the next running back in line after Bijan. Today, Jeff, I'm already reading the tea leaves from this morning that it looks like you're going to get a Jahmyr Gibbs deal a little bit later this afternoon. But there you go. And even Rappaport tweet, the Colts and star running back Jonathan Taylor have agreed to terms on a big 2-year, $44 million extension, $47 million max, $39 million guaranteed. By the way, this isn't his first, like, hey, Bijan just got paid his first time around. This is the second time around Jonathan Taylor got a nice contract here on an extension.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten paid for sure, and he deserves. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL. You obviously always worry with him. He has had some injury problems, but another Wisconsin guy, with a very good career in the NFL, good running back. I was doing some Ron Dane work because our guest today, he is an interesting running back as a Heisman Trophy candidate. And I thought back to thinking, like, who were the last running backs outside of Alabama that have won the Heisman Trophy? Yeah, Ron Dane won it in 1999. Taylor's been terrific. You just got to hope he stays healthy. Obviously, Daniel Jones stays healthy. They were an exciting team last year for about 10 games. You just always, when you see these contracts, you think to yourself, man, how sweet's that got to be, right? To get some, when you see like something that says $44 million guaranteed, it's like, man, that's sweet.
By the way, Jonathan Taylor and Ron Dane, both South Jersey kids, one from Camden County, one from Salem County. Do you? Because I graduated the same year as Ron Dane in high school. Phenomenal talent. But I'm going to tell you right now, people, like, we didn't have YouTube back then, and games weren't on TV, and they didn't have their own broadcast booth like they do now. Go back and do yourselves a favor out there. Take a look at Jonathan Taylor at Salem High School and see how he was in high school. Jeff, I'm telling you, it was a track meet every single play. I don't know how they stopped him even one time. That kid was shotgunned to stardom immediately, and once he got to Wisconsin, was phenomenal as well.
Yeah, South Jersey is a good pedigree with a lot of great athletes over the years. I'll tell you, if we're talking about Ron Dane, I mean, he was kind of a throwback running back. You know, you don't see, now it's more like a scat back type, just
35 carries a game in college.
Yeah, Ron Dane was just a bulldozer, man. I remember one game in particular, I think it was like a 300-yard game he had. It was electric. I was like 10, 12 years old at that time, so I remember him very well. He was a handful, man. Really, really, really terrific player.
Yep, keep it moving here. By the way, other guys that ring the cash register, Jeff, in the NBA, guys are still getting paid right now. Dillon Brooks got a big contract, 3 years, like $73, $75 million here to stay at home in Phoenix. The ultimate LeBron hater gets his due. By the way, there was times Dillon Brooks was going to be out of the NBA and just comes in cashing at like $25 million a year, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, you look at the contracts, on the other side, you have stuff like this, and it's like, Dillon Brooks, a guy who's fairly pedestrian, but then you really look at it. I mean, Dillon Brooks is actually one of the Suns' better players, if we're being honest. I mean, he averaged 20 points a game. He had some huge games in the playoffs last year, back, I think it was the first round against Oklahoma City. This is how you build a team. I don't know. I always felt Dillon Brooks is just a bit of like a forced guy. Look, I know there's a lot of people that don't like me, for instance, but I don't necessarily force things. You either love me or hate me, and I'm relevant. I think Dillon Brooks tries a little too hard sometimes. What has he ever done that's super interesting, or why is he the LeBron?
The tough guy, I'll be the hater. There's not really any LeBron haters as players. That's what I'm saying. He's the outcast at that point where that's where he, hey, I'm going to spend $20,000 and sit under the rim with my jewelry and smile at LeBron, but LeBron's playing and you're not playing. It's just, it's odd
super
behavior.
Lame.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find that to be, and again, we're just regular people, but it's to go through all that, to get all dialed up, go to a game that's not yours, that you're not playing in. Well, it wasn't the playoffs, right? Just to
it might
sit
have
there
been
and
the playoffs. It might have been because he was done playing, so it probably was the playoffs.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
All for LeBron just to be the literally second best basketball player ever, possibly sometime the first.
Yeah,
best player ever. What's funny? What's cool? Wouldn't it be just cool to just go on with your life and just enjoy yourself and not?
Yeah.
If I'm that rich, I'm not doing stuff like that. I do the stuff I have to do now because I don't know, I kind of have to.
We talk about, Jeff, dragging things out and other top stories out here. I'm going to preface it by saying Aaron Donald is phenomenal. Aaron Donald's one of the best players to come out of college at Pittsburgh and dominate in the NFL, got a ring, got all the money, seems like an extremely likable guy, retired early. God bless him. That's what you're supposed to do. Get your money, get your ring, get out and enjoy the rest of your life. But now he's getting in that J.J. Watt area for me, where J.J. Watt was a phenomenal football player. I can't stand the guy off the field. And heaven forbid if he's actually going to be in the booth instead of Tony Romo. I might not even have to put it on mute. But let's go back to Aaron Donald. Here's what the Rams are doing. Hey, man, it'd be great if he comes back. And then you see the pictures of him working out. But now you take it to the next level, Jeff. Did you see what happened? He had a tryout with the Rams. But do you know actually why they had to release it to the public and probably did it on purpose?
Oh, I don't.
If you wear a helmet or pads that are provided by the NFL team and you go in for a workout, they have to report it. So Aaron Donald said he didn't want to wear the pads, but he wore a helmet for some of the workout. So the Rams didn't release it, but had to release it to the NFL, and now it's a big story. It's all correlated here, and it's starting to piss me off, Jeff. It is. Are you back? Or are you not back? See me in November, see me in December, see me after camp. Just let me know. I'm tired of it already.
I'm kind of mixed on this. He always came across to me as a guy who kind of quit, and he didn't necessarily want to quit. Kind of I quit the sit down. Maybe it was kind of premature. I didn't necessarily want to quit it, but I came back. I've come back for sure. I look at him like Brandon Graham, though. I never really felt like Brandon Graham was actually retiring.
Yeah.
I still think maybe Aaron Donald, like Brandon Graham, has something left. It's really hit or miss because some guys you kind of feel like when Jason Kelce retired, I kind of felt like, okay, that's enough. he's obviously got a successful podcast. He just seems like a guy who's just done with it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Aaron Donald's made a lot of, it's not about money. He's not coming back for a money reason. I think probably he just realized, you know what? I really don't know what I want to do. I'm only 35 years old.
True.
You know, why don't I just, like, this is the thing about Aaron Donald. Like, he could still be like 80% and better than like most players in the NFL. And the cool thing now that he gets to live in, which is where I would be if I'm him, he doesn't have to be the best guy on the team anymore. And that's why I think Brandon Graham enjoys it now, because like he can just be, he doesn't have to necessarily do training camp. He can kind of decide when he and what he wants to do. And he doesn't have to be a 12, 15 sack a year guy. If he gives you a couple sacks, fans love him regardless. It's more like a publicity tour for Aaron Donald, I think. I don't mind.
And he's coming back to a team that's the favorite to win a Super Bowl. So it's easy to come back. But you know as well as I do, and you called it perfectly, Jeff. Sometimes when you retire at 65 years old, you're tired. Man, I worked my whole life. I had to go 9 to 5, whatever the hell I was doing. It's nice just to relax. This guy's in his 30s. He's got all the money in the world. You play in front of the biggest crowds and have the biggest moments, and you retire as one of the best ever. Hey, I can't wait to golf. I can't wait to start a podcast. And they go, man, every day I got to do this? Like, I'm kind of bored at this point. So it sort of brings them back. Hey, let me work out, see if I want to do it. I would like if Aaron Donald came back. I just don't like the shenanigans around it where every time they ask McVay, it's like, hey, we're not going to put, like, just yes or no, we coming back. Like, if you're not, no big deal. If you are, fantastic. Just let me know.
It's kind of a weird life when you're a high-level athlete or just an athlete in general, right? Because if you don't do a podcast and you don't become like a coach, like, what do you do exactly?
I don't know.
Like,
doesn't it get old after, hey, I'm going to golf. You golf 4 straight days. It's like, all right, what's next? Oh, I'm going to fish. Like Ben Simmons. Like, I'm going to retire. I'm going to go fishing. And after a while, it's like, maybe I think I can play basketball again because I'm bored out of my mind.
Yeah, and if you don't have, like I've seen athletes do, like
Jordan.
Like they're
everything he's got.
Right. He has, like, businesses. And
yes, correct.
Like,
Shaquille
some people
O'Neal.
just aren't really built for that either, right?
Yep.
Like, I've seen guys, they'll play poker or they'll, like you said, golf or do something. But Aaron Donald just doesn't seem like that kind of guy to me. Like, he's like a football player. But he's, it's weird. It's a tough, weird world once you, because he's only 35.
Yeah.
In the world of, like, age, 35 is insanely young if we're really thinking about it. He still has his whole rest of his life, like this next 40, 50 years.
Yep.
What do you do? I mean, he's worth
go home with the wife and the kids. You're like, I can't wait to spend time. Then you spend time with them. It's like, hey, what's next? Where am I going at this point? So these guys like to get into front offices or get into the booth just to call games and sort of have that lifestyle back. Yeah. But when it's calling you, we always see it, Jeff, with boxers, right? Why is this guy like Bernard Hopkins still boxing? Who the hell's giving up that life? You're the center of attention every time you fight. Even if you're getting knocked out now, you can't give it up. It's always calling you. And if somebody's going to call you, Jeff, you go, I got money on the line. You want to fight this guy? Hell yeah, I do. You know, it goes.
We talk about movies a lot, Donnie, and in Rounders, at the end of Rounders, the film is about Mike McDermott understanding, like, who he is as a person and how like, he can try to pretend all he wants. I mean, there's a lot of Stringer Bell attempts to become a business owner in The Wire, and he realizes that's just not who he is, and he's never going to work in that world. Mike McDermott realized he ain't a lawyer; he's a poker player, right? Some of us just have to realize we are who we are, and we have to just accept that. I know there's a bunch of people that don't like the shit I say or point out, but I am who I am, and I don't give a shit. We have to accept that, and Aaron Donald, in a weird way, just accept it. You're a football player. Until you can't walk anymore, you should play football.
Yeah. And again, like, because if you remember, too, do you remember, like, Kroenke is their owner, more money than God, tons. They won the Super Bowl, and there were talks at that time. Like, Aaron Donald's like, I finally did it, man. I just want to step away. And you know what they did to him, Jeff? Knocked on his door and be like, here's a blank check. Sign it. McVay, do you remember? Like, hey, I'm young. I might want to start a family. I'm going to step away to the booth, and I'll get back into football later. McVay, here's a blank check, whatever you want. When it comes calling, I still understand this. We're not, like, LeBron James came to Philadelphia 2 years, $8 million, which is unbelievable ridiculous. Aaron Donald's not coming back for the vet minimum to play for the Rams. Like, they're going to have to say, you know what, you want to come back? And here's this money as well.
let's just say he plays 3 more yeyears, right?
Jesus,
2
that'd be
more
crazy
years.
if he did. Yeah.
Let's just say he plays another year or 2.
Yeah.
He'll make a good $50-60 million. Like, just do it till you're done. And then say, you know what? I'm one of the greatest defensive linemen of all time. I'm going to be a coach. What are they going to say? No, we're not interested. Like you could literally have a job to your 50. So I think he'll be fine. But again, like the most rich people in the world, the successful people in the world, you still get bored. You can only golf and play with your kids so much.
Correct.
Eventually they go back. Even though your kids are busy, they go back to school eventually. And it's like, well, what do? I can walk and get the mail. It's like eventually you get tired of stuff. So you have to do what you have to do, and he'll be back. But Donnie, we're going to keep talking football. We're going to shift it a little bit, though.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to talk a little college football. You're going to jump out for a little bit, and we're going to bring on our guest. I'm excited about this. We got to talk Detroit Lions here in a little bit as well.
Yes, we do.
We'll try to decipher a little bit more about the Hall of Fame game, which I don't know if we have much more there. We're gonna tip on out and bring you back here in a minute. Is our guest ready? He is. I'm excited about this one. We had a great guest the other day. Duck joined us to talk a little Big 12. Today we're going to talk Heisman Trophy. And I don't know if there's a better person to do it. You know, Brett, I'm hearing about your name a lot. Brett Ciancia. I've talked to you before on Twitter Spaces. I think I've talked to you on Twitter Spaces. I did last year, I think. I want to throw up Pick 6 previews. One of the best magazines. You just sent me it. I got it last year as well. One of the best magazines. If you're a college football guy, you like the sport, you like to understand what's going on, what these teams are all about this year, you're getting some really great reviews on this. How you doing? Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me, and congrats on the new show to you and Donnie. I'm pretty pumped seeing 2 Pennsylvania guys make it to the next stage here. But yeah, thanks for having me. It's a busy time of year for Pick 6 previews with the 2026 edition coming off the printing press, shipping it across the country. It's a one-man show. I'm doing all 68 Power 4 teams, talking to head coaches, talking to coordinators, putting my numbers together, my writing, and publishing. So it's the best time of year now to talk about it. You know, biggest coaching carousel of all time, biggest transfer market of all time. So a lot of moving parts, lots to get into. I'm excited to be on.
I saw a tweet from my guy Sammy P, and he was talking about how, I guess he's at Bet Bash, and he heard someone mention that there are only 12 teams nationally that have the same coordinators, coach. It's pretty unbelievable. Out of 140 teams, that's pretty unbelievable.
It really is. I mean, look at the SEC alone. It's so many coaching changes. It's gotten to the point with so many so many transfers that I have my All-American team. I have my All-Conference teams. I had to put in an All-Transfer team just to keep track of all this. So that's there in the magazine as well. But yeah, you look at some spots with continuity that might change your opinion on some playoff odds. I see there's about 8 teams that are minus money, the heavy favorites to make the bracket. I agree with those 8. There's 3 that I've got my eye on that are plus money, though, if we want to get into that. And we got Heisman to talk about. So wherever you want to go with it, I'm excited.
I want to do that at the end. I actually want to bring up a team that's a big favorite to make the playoff, a team that I've already bet to win the whole thing. I'm very high on, obviously, which we'll talk about. But I want to talk Heisman first. Look, I'll say it many times. I'll say it again. I've already bet Trinidad Chambliss. I want to start there. I think when we look at Chambliss, he is most, as far as stat driven, as far as rushing yards, passing yards, he's just going to put up monster stats, right? We have to remember, Trinidad Chambliss essentially didn't play the first 2 games of the season. For as good as Lane Kiffin is on the surface, which a guy who's never really won anything, he gets all the lauding. He actually thought Austin Simmons was a better option than Trinidad Chambliss, which after the fact was a complete miscalculation. But you look at ultimately what he was able to do. I mean, just terrific. He's a 5-tool guy. He had 8 300-plus yard passing games, and he didn't play the first 2 games. I guess when we look at Heisman, you kind of feel like he's got that Jaden Daniels feel to me, where he kind of comes in the SEC, just puts up monster numbers all year. They're going to be relevant late in the season, which is huge. The truth is, if you're not relevant, it's going to be hard for you to win the Heisman Trophy. He's got a chip on his shoulder getting that extra year. He's got his whole season to worry about now. He doesn't have to worry about Austin Simmons or anybody else. His coach, all that nonsense is out of the way. I ask you, for him to get this job done, he's going to need probably 4,000 passing yards. He's going to need a low interception rate. Would you agree that he's the favorite in your eyes, or is there someone over him?
Yeah, well, when you talk preseason Heisman odds, when you look at the last 12 years, the preseason Heisman favorite has not won the award. So that's bad news this year if you're a C.J. Carr bettor or an Arch Manning bettor. I go a little bit down the ladder there. I go down to the 12-1 line, and there it is with Darian Mensah and Trinidad Chambliss. Those are the two guys I've got circled comparative to their value that you get with the odds there. But with Chambliss, yeah, you're right. He wasn't the original starter at day one. It took until the third week. But I do give that staff credit because guy came from Division II. They found a diamond in the rough there from Ferris State. Division II transfer. The only other offer he had, I believe, was Temple. So give the staff some credit for finding the guy. Now, it took until mid-September to get him into the starting lineup, but he really razzled and dazzled. He was drawing Kyler Murray comparisons from the staff and from opposing coordinators. And then, of course, in the playoff bracket, he really shined. That Georgia game, the way he was scrambling, making crazy third down conversions, those are the kind of Heisman moments that you need to supplement the big stat line that you talked about. So I think he gets both. He gets those 4,000 yards, probably 30 touchdowns, probably adds 500 more on the ground, and then has Ole Miss in playoff contention. And when I first started looking at it, I was worried about losing Lane Kiffin in that scheme. That was a red flag for me. But when you look at who they hired, it's John David Baker. He's a former Ole Miss staffer, former Ole Miss and Kiffin coordinator. He was quoted saying he's keeping the scheme 90% the same as last year's Ole Miss team. So it checked off all the boxes for me, all the questions I would have had with Trinidad Chambliss. I like the value at 12-1. So I would go with him and Darian Mensah as my two picks.
Yeah, when I say my favorite, like I look at him as the best option to pick preseason. Really, maybe outside of Arch Manning. Look, I know C.J. Carr, he's going to have his big national TV games, but Mr. Chambliss checks all the boxes. He's going to have those electrifying 40-yard runs. He's going to have the escapability that they're going to show on SportsCenter. All that stuff's important. You mentioned Mensah. He's another guy you kind of jotted down. We didn't give him near enough credit last year. This is a guy who started his career at Tulane, then goes to Duke. He, quite frankly, was one of the best quarterbacks in America last year. 34 touchdowns, second in passing yards. You now look at where he's going to go. Miami, who has had some really good quarterbacks like himself over the last couple of years, i.e. a Cameron Ward. He also gets his top receiver, Cooper Barkate, to come with him. And you look at the level of talent that I'm not saying Duke doesn't have, but Duke doesn't have a Malachi Toney, right? He's an electrifying special type of player. I want to just put this into fruition for people. Okay, in 2 years, he's had 787 pass attempts, 12 interceptions. That's a 1.2% interception rate. Okay, now again, I'm not comparing him to Joe Burrow. Okay, I'm not. But long term, those numbers, Joe Burrow didn't have a 1.2 interception rate. Now, again, he had about 200 passing attempts more than this current number. But like Mendoza last year was over 2%. His interception rate is strikingly low. He's another guy who has that dual threat ability. We know Miami, very well regarded nationally. They're another team. We could argue top 5, top 7 team. This is the perfect system for him. He's got his guy there. He's got better talent. He's got a good offensive line. What's not to like about Mensah?
Oh, absolutely. And I like that you brought up that interception rate. And it's not one of those teams that are quarterbacks that just does the short passes, the sideline to sideline screen passes. Like that stat isn't inflated. It's real because he led the country in downfield pass attempts last year. So taking risks, he's a gunslinger and then still has a low interception rate. That's impressive. And then you're talking about the talent upgrade he's going to have going from the Duke program to this Miami program. It's a who's who of National Signing Day, 5 stars galore, best transfer market, usually top 5 in the transfer market every year. But yeah, so you're going to have the nation's most downfield passer going with Malachi Toney, a surefire All-American in the slot. Cooper Barkate, like you mentioned, 1,000-yarder coming. And then on top of that, they took starters off of South Carolina, off of West Virginia. It's a really talented receiver room. Outside of Ohio State, maybe Texas, I think.
We lose our guest. I think we lost our guest. A little bit of a connection issue there. But I just want to kind of build on what he said. We'll get him back in a second. I think we also have to look at not only do you have better weapons, you just have your overall quality of life. You go to Miami. Where better to go, right? Great quality of life. He's a California kid. I think he'll be more at home, kind of in that system, in that role. It's just, I was just saying, Brett, as far as just the overall quality of life too. I mean, who doesn't want to live in Miami, right? He's a California kid. I just feel like everything's kind of working well for Mensa. And look, I know, neither of us are necessarily scouts at the next level, but he kind of has a real NFL feel to him. I think he's a guy who down the road, you mentioned his ability down the field, just kind of an accurate kid. I think he's going to benefit significantly. So those are kind of more favorite-driven, and Mensa and Chambliss, even though they're not the favorites. I love you because you go a little bit deeper. I like to go deeper as well. You bring up a guy like Kevin Jennings, and we're not going to spend a ton of time on Kevin Jennings because I disagree in terms of putting my money on Kevin Jennings, just because to me, I look at Kevin Jennings as a better version of remember that kid Jaden Daniels at Kansas, where every year it was oh, Kansas is like a fringe, playoff team, or they're going to compete in the Big 12, and then he gets injured or he just doesn't do enough. Kevin Jennings, if we talk about Mensa, no interceptions, Kevin Jennings turns the football over too much. Okay, 130th nationally in interceptions. It's too many. He has, though, I think what you're looking for in the thought of he can go out and just be like a Miami, right, and have that national pedigree. So tell me why you like Kevin Jennings. Is this just finally a year where he's been there 12 years already?
Yeah, well, I think when you talk Heisman odds, there's two different categories. You have your serious plays, like the two we talked about with Darian Mensa and Trinidad Chambliss, kind of in that 10 to 20 to 1 range. And then you have what I call lottery tickets or roulette chips, going way down the list, but guys that might have value relative to the price. He's 80 to 1, right? That's a lottery ticket. Maybe throw a little bit on that. But what I like from him, it's the star power. It's the highlight reel type plays he's going to continue to make. He stacked consecutive 3,000 passing yard seasons, got SMU to the playoff in 24, and I know he had a rough game there in the playoff against Penn State, but came back strong in 25. He was lighting up the scoreboard again. If you watch him, too, he battled the second half of the season. He had a banged-up leg, and that really cut out a lot of his game. He's a dual-threat guy who's really elusive in the pocket. So I talked to Coach Lashley this preseason, says he's back 100% healthy, highlight reel in a bottle kind of player. And not to be a hot take guy, I'm not a hot take guy, but he might have one of the best arms in the country. I mean, he can make any throw. It's an electric arm. So if SMU is anywhere near that ACC title range, playoff talk in November, he might be the reason why and could be a Heisman dark horse.
Well, they're obviously not now. They're a Power 5 team now. But do you know who the last non-Power 5 person to win the Heisman Trophy was? Because for a long period of time, SMU has not been considered a P5 team. They are now, but if we look at the grand scheme, do you know when it was? I'll tell you if you don't.
I would think maybe Andre Ware, but that might have been when Houston was in the Southwest Conference, so I think that might count for power standings. I'm not sure.
We were around the same. You're around the same time. In fact,
Detmer?
It was Ty Detmer in 1990 at BYU. In fact, Andre Ware was 1 year before in 1989, the year I was born. So, yeah, it doesn't happen much. But, again, SMU, they're in the ACC now. That's a different world in college football. Look, I see your vision here because, I could see a situation where they do get to the playoff, maybe make a little bit of a run. He kind of has that swan song final year. But I tell you what, Kevin Jennings, it seems like he's been there literally since – they had the death penalty back in the 90s. Couple other deeper shots, and me, I like a deep shot. I think your best deep shot, it's going to be hard because I think there are things that work against him. The best running back in the country is Ahmad Hardy, period. I know we can obviously look last year. Jeremiah Love was the best running back, but Ahmad Hardy had a 300 rushing yard game last year. Think about that. And it wasn't against Connecticut School of the Blind either. It was against an SEC team. And you look at Hardy. Look, it's been 11 years since a running back won the Heisman Trophy. Do you know who that was?
Mark Ingram?
It was. Oh, no, it was Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Mark Henry.
Alabama running backs, they get the benefit of the doubt. Yeah.
Right. Mark Ingram also won it. They were the last two running backs. And I mentioned earlier on the show, the running back to win it before him was a similar situation in a way. It was Ron Dane at Wisconsin. Look, I think this kid could get to 1,900, 2,000 yards rushing. That's possible. You never know. It's going to be hard, but he could. You never know. Here's the issue, though. If we're being honest, Missouri's probably not going to be in the playoff. It's going to be hard for them to be, they're not exactly a national brand either. Look, I know they have a better quarterback. I know they have the ability, but I mean, he's going to have like a special, like 2,000-yard rushing season just to maybe get to New York, right? Throw in, there's just not an overall relevance. When Dane won in 1999, you have to remember, they were the fourth best team in the country. They won the Rose Bowl that year. I worry for Hardy. I like the price. I like the player. But are they going to be relevant enough?
Right. It's a good point. And I'm a proud Heisman voter myself, and I keep an open mind to all positions. Case in point, last year I actually voted for Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker from Texas Tech, the best stat and production season from a linebacker in our generation. And keep in mind, to people listening, you vote before the playoff. Of course, Mendoza went crazy, had the highlight reel of all highlight reels in the playoff. Probably would have voted for him if the vote was taking place in January. But went with Rodriguez. That said, I think this is really the year of the quarterback. So it's going to be tough for a non-quarterback to win it. For a running back like Hardy, it's got to be, like you said, it's got to be stats. It's got to be 2,000 rushing yards, 2,000 plus, putting up 200 a game, just going off. And he has the potential to do so. I think he rushed for about 1,700 last year, 1,000 yards after contact. I mean, he's a 1,000-yard rusher after he's touched. It's unbelievable. Really angry, tough runner. You're right about it, how Missouri has to be relevant to win the award with those other examples. I think he can get to New York. There's been some running backs in the past who have been on, average to below average teams that made it purely on stats alone. An example would be Andre Williams at Boston College back about 10, 15 years ago. Went for like 1,800 yards, made it to New York, but he didn't win the award, and that's what pays out for this. So 100 to 1, again, take a lottery ticket maybe if you think there's a non-quarterback shot to win it. This is your best bet. But I think it's really the year of the quarterback.
Well, and I couldn't agree more. I remember years ago, one of the greatest quarterbacks that never got the respect ever was a guy, Keenan Reynolds at Navy. Had an unbelievable final season. Didn't even get an invite, right? So it's hard to be. And look, Missouri's an SEC school, but it's just going to be difficult. One other quick mention, Damon Williams, I like this shout here. I know a lot of people that really like Washington this year. We've obviously seen them, even in the only 4-team playoff, they made it under like a guy like Jake Browning. It is possible. He's another guy who's got that dual threat ability, put up some really big time numbers last year. I think the problem and concern with them as well is, relevance. Are they going to be kind of in the talk? Throw in West Coast team, maybe don't necessarily see them as much, but this is a great list. I think Hardy's a real deep shout. By the way, Jacob Rodriguez, that's a wild pool, right? Ernie Davis, I think, we obviously remember Travis Hunter, who's more of, we know him for being a receiver, but, defensive players don't win it very often. Ernie Davis, Leon Hart won the award back in 1949, but that's a great list. Quick before we let you go, I want to just bring up Notre Dame, because in your magazine, we still have Donnie. Now we have Brett. In your magazine, you say Notre Dame has the best offensive line in basically the top 15 teams in the country. They lose their 2 running backs. The receiver room's stacked. I picked them to win the national title. They're my team this year. I completely adore their coach. I think he's one of the very few actual coaches we still have left. When they were 0-2 to start the season last year, that defense was getting riddled. A real coach gets rid of people and makes changes, makes adjustments. Where did they finish nationally defensively? Tell me.
They were top 5 on both my offense number and my defense number. Yeah, only them and Oregon were top 5 on both sides of the ball. And what I do with my numbers, I adjust them for opponent strength and what the opponent averages. So it is scaled to who they played, but given who they were lined up against, it was a top 5 defense. So I know there was a big discussion about whether they should have made the bracket or not. From a resume point of view, I agree that they took Miami over Notre Dame. But from a power ratings, that was one of the best teams in the country, no doubt about it. Number 4 in my game grader formula last year. Bring back basically virtually the entire roster aside from the running back pair and maybe a player or 2. But if you like returning starters, if you like veteran teams, this is your pick. If you like mock NFL draft or NFL draft watch list, I know it's early, but I like to look at the East-West Shrine Bowl. They put out a draft list. They're number 1. So this is kind of your pick if you like all those metrics and easy schedule. I think they're going at least 11-1 based on how you view Miami, but the other 11 games are surefire wins. So I think you got a good one there. They're in my top 4 and certainly can make a run.
I mean, look, they're a favorite in every game. and period. I mean,
Yeah.
they're going to be a favorite at home. They get to play Miami. They got SMU at home. Their only other tough game, I think, on the surface would be Brigham Young in Provo. But they have a bye week to follow it. So it's, again, there's just a lot of things working here. This schedule is not as difficult as it was last year. Defensively, they're completely nails. Their secondary is ridiculous. Freeman is just fantastic at every level. I love Notre Dame. I'm all about him this year. I watched Rudy like a week ago. I'm all in on Notre Dame. Brett, really great stuff. I could probably talk to you and some of our other college football guests for hours. But I want to, again, urge people, there's not a lot of great magazines. I've railed on some of the other ones in the past. I think they're microscopic, very difficult to get through. This one is a really easy one and a simple one. Again, you're going to have your power for what really matters, because we're being real. It's what matters. And we have to stop giving participation trophies and letting teams like James Madison in the Final 12 when you have teams like Notre Dame. It's just ridiculous. It's a complete joke. But I'm glad you kind of focus on our pick six, the six big conferences. I love that. Thank you for coming on. I really hope we could talk to you again during the season, maybe.
Yeah, of course, Jeff and Donnie, thanks for having me. Good luck this fall. Yeah, we'll catch up for another segment, maybe some spaces. We'll talk over there because there's no time limit over there, man. But great catching up. You know your stuff, and good luck this fall.
Thank you, Brett. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back right after these words.
Brett Ciancia from Pick Six Previews there, talking Heisman candidates as our countdown towards the season continues, Jeff. Very informative over the last 20 minutes here. Those numbers due to change, but it's nice to get that background information before week 0 even happens, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I could literally, I know I could become, we all become a little nerdy at times, but I could literally sit there and talk about that kind of stuff for hours. I truly love it. It makes me happy. And I like people that have passion for stuff. Like, I know you have passion for football. I know Brett has passion. I do respect that a lot, and I'm glad to have him. He had some good ones there. I love Chambliss, as I've said, and I love Notre Dame. So
Yep, great stuff all the way through as we continue once again talking about football. But you know what we do each and every day right here on Crossing Lines. Our countdown to the NFL season includes a team preview every single day, Monday through Friday. Yesterday, take a look, it was the Denver Broncos. Today, we're going to go back to the NFC, and it's the NFC North. It's the Detroit Lions. One of those teams that you looked at over the past couple of years saying maybe their window was now, and it's just starting to close. The one thing we know about the Lions, they will be fantastic on offense, but the question marks will always come up on defense. Now, this year, after losing Ben Johnson a year ago, they went with Johnny Morton there as the offensive coordinator. He's no longer there. That offense didn't look good. New offensive coordinator this year. I wonder if it changes some things. You see the win total because we hit that number basically saying, ooh, man, that schedule looks pretty good, Jeff. But the Lions, they're here. 9-8, no playoffs last year. What happens this year?
You look at this team, and you mentioned very succinctly about this offense. Look at those two. Look at those three names there: Goff, Gibbs, St. Brown.
1, 2,
and you
3.
go 9-8. I mean, it's really just laughable. The issue with this team on the forefront, as far before I get into anything, is the head coach. The head coach isn't good enough. He's a rah-rah guy who they've just accepted in that town for some reason, even though he makes a lot of boneheaded decisions, boneheaded mistakes. A team with those three players, throw in the fact that they've had other good players too, a good offensive line, at least up until recently, a pretty decent front seven. You should be better, and they weren't. You look at on offense, I think you make very good points in terms of they have plenty of weapons. They added Isaiah Pacheco as kind of that backup running back. I think he'll help. He's a guy who's won. Maybe he can deliver something. But I look at where they are a year or two later. The offensive line's not as good. I mean, Taylor Decker's discussed. He's not happy. They have a new center, which is concerning because, look, you look at like a Penei Sewell, he's terrific. But there's pieces of that offensive line that I'm a little concerned about. Goff's got to cut down on the interceptions. 16th in the NFL last year in interceptions, just too many. They have to be a little bit better in the red zone. But overall, offensive numbers are great. Top 5. Yeah. They have plenty of talent, plenty of speed in that dome. Look, as we talk about what a lot of these big-time teams, at least maybe not necessarily the favorite in these conferences, but they're all good offensively. Generally, though, the issues are going to come on defense. And this has not just been a one-season problem for the Detroit Lions. They're just not good enough defensively, really at every level. When you got to the red zone against them, you pretty much scored every time you had the ball. Their rush defense, the last 2 years, they've allowed at least 4.5 yards a carry. Their pass defense is pretty average. And you look at the secondary this year, you've got guys recovering from major knee injuries, including Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch. Yep. You lose Amik Robertson in free agency. You bring in, I guess, kind of papering over the crack type players. Rock Ya-Sin, you have, Roger McCreary, but there's not a lot of excitement there. You lose Alex Anzalone, one of your better linebackers. It's really just Aiden Hutchinson and everybody else. And Donnie, I look at their rush defense and I say, well, why have they been poor against the run? Well, Hutchinson, as I said, and it's everybody else. There is some excitement, and I'll just throw this in at the end. They have 2 good nose tackles, Tyleik Williams and Aleem McNeil. I saw a report recently, Tyleik Williams is down 50 pounds, which you would assume is a really good thing, and it is, especially if he's turned it into muscle, because I'll compare it to Aleem McNeil, his counterpart. He recently had a weight loss last year as well. He ended up having one of his best seasons. So I think a more svelte group up front, I think they'll be significantly better. But to me, they're just another team in the NFC. I don't really look at them as a competitor. I think they'll be average, 10, 11 wins, but I don't ultimately think they're better than maybe Green Bay. I don't think they're better than Chicago either. I surely don't think they're better than the Rams or Eagles or teams like that. It's a shame. They need a better coach.
You bring up a good point on this, too, because, when the rubber is going to meet the road once you get to the playoffs, you better have a good defense that's going to be able to get stops. And I don't know if they can. They're a fun team, and trust me right now, on a week-to-week basis, as Jeff pointed out, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're going to light up scoreboards, and that's great. And I know Jeff loves dome. You don't got to worry about, hey, Detroit in late December, it's freezing cold. No, it's not. They're in a dome. It's a fast track, and we're going to have some fun with that. But the key ingredient comes in sometimes as the coach, and I give Dan Campbell a lot of credit for this. Detroit was a bad, let's just say, program, and he came back and resuscitated them. Added some energy and some life. But I always like to take a look at this, Jeff. Remember those Tampa Bay great teams? They just couldn't get over the hump with Tony Dungy. Great coach, brings them back. They let him go. They bring in John Gruden. Bam, we're winning Super Bowls. Yeah. We don't have that here. And Ben Johnson is one of my favorite play callers and creators in the NFL. They lost that last year, and it was interesting to see what would happen. Well, they didn't make the playoffs, and they weren't nearly as creative on offense. That's going to happen. So my question is now, you can't have a net negative as a head coach on the sideline. And I truly believe Dan Campbell is that. You've watched those years, Jeff, 12 wins, 15 wins in the playoffs. You watch some of those calls in the playoffs where it's and even in the regular season, stupid 2-point conversions out of nowhere because we're aggressive, damn it, that got us here. Going into the playoffs with big leads, I remember the 49ers game where it's what are you doing out here? Just play solid football the rest of the way, you would advance and maybe get to a Super Bowl. I always call Dan Campbell a rockhead because I don't think he's a great football coach. Great motivator, will get you in shape, absolutely. Will these guys play for him? But when you have big decisions to make, he's one of the dumbest coaches in the NFL, and that always hurts in big game environments.
He is and I'm going to be nice here, kind of. He's a poor man's Ed Orgeron. He's not even Ed Orgeron. At least Ed Orgeron with talent won. Remember that, right? This guy can't even win with talent. He's a great call, rockhead. He makes a lot of bad decisions. This rockhead crap doesn't work. But we also have to call up Brad Holmes, who didn't have the wherewithal to understand that Ben Johnson should have become the next coach of this team. Correct. It would have worked perfect. Yeah. And then you look at what they've done. Okay, Ben Johnson not only leaves, but goes to a rival, in the Chicago Bears. They now are prominent and are, on the surface to me, better than the Detroit Lions. Yeah. You also look at where they've went. I mean, they lose Aaron Glenn, who was a defensive coordinator there, and I guess had decent success. But you look at on offense, you hire Drew Patzing, who was with Arizona, and they scored 20 points a game. It's not like he was like this wonderkin. Why don't you go out and get like a Declan Doyle? Like, I don't quite understand the thought process of Brad Holmes and this ownership and this GM. Like, Drew Patzing is on the surface not a particularly good hire. Okay, let's just look at his career. Before Detroit, you know where he was? Cleveland. As the quarterback's coach, they haven't developed shit either. What am I seeing here with Drew Patzing? He reminds me of Todd Orlando in college football. Todd Orlando has never been a good defensive coordinator, yet somehow keeps getting jobs.
Brian Van
everywhere.
Gorder. Yeah, all those guys just pass them around. Somehow they can't keep jobs here. But if you do look at Detroit, and you know the well as we're going down this path, Jeff. Week 7, week 8, week 9, Dan Campbell's going to take the play calling back again. And he's going to be super aggressive. That's what got us here. But from a betting standpoint, I love Detroit. So, Jeff, and a question already came up in the chat box here as well. Why are they 10.5 wins? And you take a look at teams like the Denver Broncos are 9.5. You look at their schedule, and I understand. Everybody loves to do wins and losses before the season. It's all we have. Once you get who's playing well, who's not playing well, who's injured, who's doing this and that, that's going to change during the year. But I look, Jeff, New Orleans game number 1, you should win that. At Buffalo, probably a loss. But Jets game, winnable. Carolina game, winnable. Arizona game, winnable. Bye week, then you get Green Bay at home, and you have Minnesota. You'll probably at least split those games here, worst case. Miami's on the schedule. New England is actually a alternate site game in Munich. Tampa Bay at home, Chicago at home, Atlanta, Tennessee. The Giants are on there. Like, I look at this and say, there's a legitimate chance, Jeff. They get 11 wins on this schedule, make the playoffs, but then another team in the playoffs is going to be licking their chops because, hey, man, we're going to eat this defense alive.
Yeah, it's a tough schedule. You're 100% right. And look, I don't know that we've talked.
I don't think
really
it's a tough schedule, to be honest. I think it's an easy schedule.
Oh, I thought you said you thought it was tough.
No, that's why it's 10.5. I thought the schedule is easy. Where I'm saying there's so many winnable spots on this where it's like they might get to 11, but are they as good as actually what their record is? Do you know what I mean?
But again, they're winnable to a coach that makes good decisions. They don't have one of those. Throw in, and we haven't talked that much about it here. Another reason I think they've went down the shitter, supposedly, at least last year, was their offensive and defensive lines are not good enough. Okay, they went from being one of the best offensive lines in the NFL to like a fringe, like bad offensive line, right? You have a new center. Frank Ragnow's gone. He's retired. Yeah. Okay, Taylor Decker, I've heard he's not quite happy. They haven't necessarily made the right decisions up front. And again, I talked about their defensive line. It's a lot of it been Aiden Hutchinson and everybody else. You need Derek Moore to obviously become something. The kid out of Michigan who they drafted. You need someone else to pop up here. These trenches haven't been good enough for them, so it's no secret why they're 9-8. If you don't have good trench play in college or NFL football, you're not going to win. It doesn't matter if you have Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Throw in the Jamison Williams. Isaac Tesla made himself something. They have a great tight end. They, on paper, offensively, are up there with some of the best rosters in the NFL. But you look at when you have a really nice car, if you don't have good tires on it or good insurance, it doesn't really matter. You can't have a poor offensive line or you don't get enough sacks. Their defense has issues. They don't have a good coach and they have a bad offensive line. A lot of that stuff's going to creep in, and that's where they were 9-8.
Yeah, they go out and they get Miller, right tackle, in the first round, I believe, out of Clemson this year to try to sort of have that big, nasty physical presence with Penei Sewell. He's one of the best tackles in football, but he is a rookie.
Yes. Right, he's a rookie, and he's not one of the best at his position either. It's going to take some time for him. And again, will everybody gel? Is Cade Mays going to come in and be right away someone that can do things? Look, you have the best left tackle in the NFL, arguably, on one side, but it's just a bunch of everybody else everywhere else. So they need to figure it out. If they can figure things out, well, then you feel a lot better. If they can get these defensive tackles to be better against the run, that's a problem, right? 4.5 yards a carry isn't good enough. You can't win at doing that. And it's been 2 straight years where they can't stop the run. You just run the football against them and have success.
Like we know in the NFL too, Jeff, it's a war of attrition. Very rare that teams go through hey, we only lost one starter out of our lineup here all season long. And the reason I bring that up is not that you're going to get injured on the offensive line or the defensive line. that secondary, Jeff, it's paper thin, as you said. Guys coming back from injury and guys coming back that, quite frankly, aren't even that good at this point, where now you're going to be working on your 4th, 5th, 6th corner by week 5 or 6. That's going to be one of those efforts where, and again, I love this because I don't have anything in my futures where I'm like, hey, Detroit's going to end up winning the NFC or Detroit's going to win the Super Bowl. But I just told you on a week-to-week basis, this team is going to have my attention. Their skill positions are phenomenal. Sure. And one thing you like as well, hey, touchdown props, it's great on Detroit. Not because they have great players, but even though their coach is a rockhead, he's going for it, Jeff. 4th and 3 at the 19-yard line, we're going for it. 4th and 5 from the 7, we're going for that as well. Touchdowns, man.
If you bet team totals, like you want to bother with them because they're not punting, like they're gonna take shots late in the game, even if they're up 20. Like he takes things and runs with it. But again, that can backfire too. With that offense to go 9-8 is a disaster. I mean, it's just not good enough. Ben Johnson should be the coach of this team.
And again, it's hard for you to sell the coach like, hey, I built this and look at my record, I'll be fine. But you clearly see that's the imprint. The same thing with Buffalo. Buffalo's like, we can't afford to lose Joe Brady. We can afford to lose our defensive coordinator. And again, Dan Campbell, credit him for bringing the Detroit Lions back. But sometimes you need somebody to get over that hill. And also, who's taking the credit for coming back? Is it Dan Campbell? Play for me, or God damn, everybody's wide open, and this run scheme is outrageous for Detroit, and now you're going to start to see that in Chicago. Those are the questions that will be asked, because if it's another season, Jeff, where they miss the playoffs with that talent on offense, you know who's going to get the blame now.
I actually I want to make an adjustment to what I said. I didn't realize this.
Yeah.
It has gotten really bad. Decker was actually released. That's pretty amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Which it got really bad to the point, like I have, for whatever reason, thought he was injured.
Yeah.
What a complete mess. And again, you draft Miller, but I mean, Taylor Decker was a great tackle for them for a while. I didn't know it got that bad. I could have sworn he was still in the roster.
Point here. So we'll see what happens, but I do think that you're going to get success out of Detroit. I do think there's a legitimate chance, unless they get devastatedly injured, that they can win 11 games, because I like that schedule all the way through. But it's just going to be a factor of what you're going to do in the playoffs, where you saw them, Jeff. Hey, number 1 seed, Washington went there and absolutely torched them with a young quarterback because they had no defense. So who is going to step up?
You also have to call a spade a spade. I mean, yes, they've been markedly, and for them, much better than they normally are, because they've been so bad for a long time. But we have to call a spade a spade. The Detroit Lions are a loser organization that nobody ever worries about. And we don't worry about them this year. They're a paper tiger who have, a couple of good players, but nobody actually picks them to win anything. And we won't start this year either. The truth is, they're a paper tiger. Nobody's scared of the Detroit Lions. They're a laughing stock, basically. That's what they are. And it all leads back to, good, cool. You won 9 games. You won 10 games. Did you win anything in the playoffs? Oh, well, no. Okay. Nobody cares.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Detroit Lions here, 2026 countdown to kickoff, Jeff. Tomorrow we'll do it again on a Friday. And we're going to keep it in division. You know what tomorrow is, Jeff?
Green Bay.
Green Bay Packers here, flying under the radar. Some injuries maybe at running back here. I see some maybe groins or hamstrings catching up and maybe some legalities. But that's Mr. Love's team, and we'll get them tomorrow with Coach LaFleur. So, Jeff, as we end today talking about the Lions, tomorrow's Green Bay, we actually have a football game to talk about tonight. And in the 1 o'clock hour, which we are in, let's get to that football game. Live in charge. Going to see those Panthers. Going to see those Cardinals. Going to see two-glove Kenny Pickett out there. Going to see Carson Beck. Going to have fun because the pageantry will be there tonight. Will the game live up to it? No. But that's the goal here, that maybe we'll get more points. We led the show talking about, Jeff, 20-year average, 32.7 points. We take a look at the game tonight. Can it get to 35 points? We'll find out. But again, you're just flipping a coin to see who's going to win this game, Jeff. Panthers, Cardinals tonight, Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, and there's some other things off the field that I think are kind of interesting too, right? I mean, Marvin Harrison, there's been a lot of he's I don't think exactly happy.
Catch?
Yeah, right. And you just kind of look deep into some of these rosters, depth chart wise. I mean, there's just not a lot of guys you're real excited about, right? I mean, John Mechie, and David Moore. You look at on the Arizona side. I mean, they're not very good really at any level. You just kind of wonder, like, where does the offense come from? I guess if you're Carolina, from a quarterback standpoint, I mean, Pickett's interesting. Obviously Haynes King is a guy who was pretty electrifying, good dual threat quarterback down at Georgia Tech. Right. Mm-hmm. Trevor Etienne, A.J. Dillon, some of the depth there. I mean, Carolina is definitely the better roster. I think they're kind of trying to build on kind of what they did last year, see what they have maybe, in the secondary, at corner or at the linebacker position. Does another pass rusher emerge? I think they're definitely the better roster. And that's really when you look at these games, kind of what you're thinking about. But there's not a lot of electrifying talent, really, even at the starter level, right? So I think for me, I would lean under the total. You're just not going to have a bunch of, I think, playmakers here moving the football. I think there's going to be a lot of bad offensive line play in this game. And the quarterback, at least on the surface, I don't think you're going to see like a Trey Lance type performance from Carson Beck. I guess he could surprise. You don't really know. But, there's not a lot of belief that I think this game will be in the 40s or 50s.
Now, normally, Jeff, we would look at these games in the preseason. And you're right. We used to have 4 games. Now we don't have those anymore. Maybe game 2 is really the, hey, let's get dressed and see what happens. But different teams use week 2, week 3 differently. Let me ask you this one. Usually you'd say to yourself, okay, well, starters will be in for the first half. And again, they don't barely play in game number 1. Maybe a starter or 2 is out there, just a cameo and head to the bench. The first half total in this game, Jeff, 16.5, which means 10-7 isn't a lot, but also normal game flows of the NFL. We just talked about Dan Campbell. They're always going to go for it. You still do need to practice special teams, Jeff, in these live environments here. So there will be field goals where I don't think in the first half it's like, hey, 4th and 4 from the 25. Let's just go for it to see what happens. You actually have to work on your snap, your hold, your field goal, your special teams. What do you think? Can we get a 10-7 halftime?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much nothing, right? I mean, you're going to have 5 or 6 possessions.
Yes.
I think the knock here, too, is this game, unlike really any other game, I mean, you just aren't going to open much up. I mean, you don't want to show anyone anything, right? I look at the care in this game. There just isn't much of it. Preseason in general, right?
No.
We're literally 5 days in a training camp. I mean, these groups are still at least just figuring themselves out. And these are 2 teams, at least one of which just doesn't have much talent anyway. So, yeah, I mean, when you say 16.5, it's kind of hard to think about, but this is kind of like a spring game where there's just not much reliance. You're going to try random things. Maybe you're not up to par with a lot of different things. So, yeah, it would be unders at every level for me. Again, you see your occasional wild game, 34-7 last year, but even that game, you had 34 points and it still only got to 41. So it's you'd have to imagine. I'm all over unders here.
Just taking a look at a couple of outlets here, Jeff, some other fun things that you might be able to take a look at. How about this one, Jeff? You're saying Carson Beck probably going to play a good majority of this game. And they're not just going to be like, hey, you know what? Let's get him killed tonight. He's a draft pick that might be able to be a starter for you in the future. Arizona Cardinals receiving and rushing yards tonight combined, Jeff. 286.5, which again, in the landscape of the NFL, that's not a lot of yards in a game. Do we feel that would possibly... The one thing that's tough to gauge is once you almost get sometimes to the fourth quarter, it's let's just run the ball and get the hell out of here because, we got other things we got to do and get back to practice. You take a look at Carolina, Jeff. They're listed at 289.5. So just numbers put out there. Do you think any of these teams has an advantage on yards per game in this one?
Yeah, I mean, you would assume Carolina. I mean, I think even like Pickett is a serviceable quarterback. I feel like Haynes King, I'm weirdly more interested in him.
I wish we had a rushing prop on Haynes King, to be honest, because he's going over that tonight. Rookies just want to make plays. Oh, no, play breaks down. Let me run. He can do that.
The truth is, this game's going to come down for what you wager on. It's Haynes King or Keaton Slovis. That's really what you're looking at here. Haynes King's exciting. I think for whatever reason, I think he's going to be a pretty decent backup. But yeah, this to me is bottom of the barrel. Look, if there's the ability to make something on something, I never one of these people that says, "Oh, you're degenerate if you bet." If I can find an avenue on a cockroach race, and I find an edge, I'm going to play it. But you're just really grasping at straws here with this one. I would assume the Panthers, and I would assume the under.
Yeah, and there you go. A little action tonight. You're going to be watching on your television tomorrow, Football Friday. Next week, more teams get involved in the preseason. And before you know it, we'll be kicking off on a, Wednesday night, not a Thursday night in the NFL, but before that, of course, is going to be week 0. But still, Jeff, we have Major League Baseball going on, and there are games that are live right now. 2 games are live, 1 more game at 1:10, 2 games in the 2 o'clock hour, 1 game in the 4 o'clock hour before the night slate. Just to keep the people updated there. The Angels and the Orioles in the bottom of the second inning, 0-0. And the Cincinnati Reds have a 1-0 lead over the Athletics here early on today. 1:10 is next up, which is basically now. McLean versus Griffin in Cleveland. I don't really have much for that. I got a couple spots that I do think are interesting later on. But, Jeff, if we take a look at one of those early games, you got one right here with Toronto and Chicago. Cease and Peterson, Jeff. Any thoughts on this one? Cease been phenomenal. Peterson been shaky. The Cubs on a hot streak, beating the hell out of the Dodgers. You take a look also, maybe MVP candidate Pete Crow Armstrong trying to overtake Shohei Ohtani. Interesting one today in Chicago early.
He just swept the Dodgers. By the way, Dodgers lost 6 straight games.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
Pretty wild there. Yep. But, Donnie, today's show was busy for me. I had a lot of things I was doing, looking at. Once I kind of cross over August 5th, I just don't, I don't even look at baseball a lot of the time. Come on.
There's angles. That was good yesterday too, Jeff. Had some RBI props hit last night, rolling along.
I love it.
Yeah. Afternoon action, kind of fun stuff here. But tonight, I know you can get involved because you don't even need to handicap this. No, I'll tell you, Miles Michaelis is on the mound tonight against the Philadelphia Phillies. You know the drill. Have you seen the prices, Jeff, tonight on the Philadelphia Phillies game? Have you seen them?
Well, and that's the issue, right? Like, I don't.
Good Lord.
Like, prices get higher, and I'm having to lay. Like, the Phillies have been a 200 favorite a few times this week already against the Nationals the other night. Sanchez, people want to bet on. We all know Mikolas sucks, so it's like I don't. That's all also kind of gets me irritated. I don't really want to lay these big prices, but the Cardinals. I mean, they're not good against lefties either. So
it ain't even the Cardinals. It's Washington tonight.
Wait,
really? You're confused on Michaelis.
Yeah, I'm confused. I'm looking at the Cardinals game. My fault. My bad. Michaelis used to play for the Cardinals.
He did.
That's why.
That's where he originally sucked first with the Cardinals. But it's minus 350,
How many games are these teams
Jeff?
playing? They've been playing like 6 straight games against each other. I feel like the Phillies and that.
Throwing over right out of the break. Minus 350 for Sanchez today. But again, ways that you can sort of diffuse, Jeff, and say, well, Phillies are probably going to win, but I'm not playing a minus 350, right? Run line, forget about it here. You saw a game last night, Phillies a favorite, then they're getting 10-4 in extras. Game just went absolutely ballistic in, extra innings. But take a couple RBI props here, man. That's how you can do it. Plus money where you say, are the Phillies going to win tonight? Yes. Are they probably going to win 1-0? No. Let's just say, Jeff, 4-1. Well, if I told you could take a plus money RBI prop on some 2 really good hitters in the middle of that lineup, talking about Harper and also Turner, you get one of them, it's a profitable night, and you don't have to sweat out like, whoo, 2-2 in the 9th. Well, Harper hit a home run in the 3rd inning. I don't even got to sweat this minus 350 out. I like a couple RBI props in that game, just the fate of Michaelis, but minus 350s, man. Good Lord.
Yeah, I mean, I totally forgot about Mikolas is on the Nationals now, but I think if there is an angle, and I've talked about this with the Nationals before, maybe you just take a shot with them because they're facing a left-handed pitcher, and it's so hard to believe that Sanchez will pitch bad and the Phillies will lose to the Nationals. Like, what did you just say? Phillies are going to win this game. That's enough for me to just take the Nationals, right? Because what was it the other night? Do you really think Scooble's going to lose? Yeah. It's like.
No way he lose. They already lost 4 games in a row. They're never going to lose 5 with Scooble. Boom. Lost 5 and lost 6 at that point. So, I mean, you never can give or take on that. I'll tell you one team that never wants to lose, Jeff. Boston Red Sox taking on the Chicago White Sox today. Castillo will be on the mound here for Chicago. Ranger Suarez, very good analytical numbers here on the mound for Boston tonight. A minus 180 price. Same thing for me. I'm looking for a fade of the Chicago White Sox. Hot batters in that lineup, Jeff. 2 guys to take a look at tonight, Willie Abreu and Yoshida for the Red Sox tonight. Using that, hey, I don't want to lay minus 190, minus 180. They're going to win this game. If I do think they're going to score a couple runs, these guys might be able to do it. So just taking those angles, a 6 o'clock game and a 7 o'clock game, big favorites, but actually making plus money bets on those big favorites.
Well, battle of the Sox here. And Castillo played and faced the Red Sox back on June 19th. It was not a good outing for him. He kind of got beat up in that one. He's not had a good outing really in a while. You look at his July, Opponents at 302 against him. Whip was really high. I mean, you can't have a 1.52 whip. Weather's not, exactly. It's hot, obviously.
Muggy
a lot of base
hell.
runners.
Yeah.
And again, playing the Red Sox isn't helpful either. I mean, they've been terrific. So, yeah, I'm not running to back Castillo here, obviously, and the number makes sense.
One game I did get wrong last night, Jeff. Like, hey, new start coming over. Casey Mize been fantastic. He got crushed as the Padres pitcher against basically a no-name lefty. And here we go again. Walker Buehler is a name, but he's not very good. Going up against Drake tonight. When you see the K before, what do you think, Jeff? Kenyon Drake, little football action here? No, he's a lefty.
I think the rapper.
Yeah, Drake, yeah, exactly. So there you go. Kenyon Drake, you got Drake the rapper. Minus 110 splits both sides here at this point. But Walker Buehler should get hit tonight. I'm looking at possibly an Arizona team total tonight. Take the game out of the equation. These guys hit last night against a much better pitcher. I think they can do some damage against Walker Buehler today. 9 is the total, even split. Maybe a team total tonight for those Padres makes sense. Padres get whacked, and the Diamondbacks take a little team total.
Yeah, Buehler, a mess, and Arizona's a sneaky little team. Good little offense there.
In the playoff race.
He faced Arizona, Buehler, back on July 6th, Donnie. Get a load of this line. 5 innings, 7 earned. Just kind of got beat up, gave up a couple of home runs in that game. He's had a more rough 7 games as well. I mean, just kind of gotten beat up in some of them. Had a bad July for sure.
Yeah. There you go. Major League Baseball card today. Friday, they'll keep rolling on. August is the way it goes. Can still be profitable. It was for me last night. Hopefully it'll be profitable for me once again tonight, Jeff. But we talk about poker stars and trending topics here. And Chris Moneymaker back in the day and learning how to play online. See if it translates over to the big events here. How about $10 million on the line, Jeff? I know you wanted to talk about this. 22-year-old Lucas Jumalan wins the World Series of Poker main event. Look at that stack, man.
Yeah, I want to put this into perspective. Lucas Jumalan is 22 years old. He's the second youngest player to ever win the World Series of Poker. And I want to put this into perspective to what his life is actually like. He started gambling legally about a year ago. In March of this year, Donnie, literally 5 months ago, this guy was playing $400 tournaments in Oregon, okay? Enters the World Series of Poker, only has about $100K in career earnings, which is not much for a poker player, especially if you play as a pro. He's a young kid. At one point in this tournament, you get 60,000 chips to start. He was down to 5K.
Wow.
Okay. Managed to fight, chip in a chair, and wins $10 million. This is the cool thing about poker, because like if I'm let's say I'm a decent basketball player, I can't just go play with LeBron, right?
Yep.
In the World Series of Poker, if you have $10,000, you can enter this tournament, period. You can enter any tournament. You can play with the best. This is unprecedented. It's very cool. This kid's a legend for that. This is why I enjoy poker. It's stories like this, pretty unbelievable.
You were out there in Vegas. Now, for the people that are just watching now, this isn't, Jeff, like, oh, I paid $10,000. There's 6 people in it, and I'm the best out of 6. Tell the people how many people entered and how long of a grueling tournament this is to make it even to the final table.
Yeah, so the World Series of Poker starts. The World Series of Poker in general is like a 2-month
huge
festival.
Event. Yes,
right?
Correct.
So there are like hundreds of events from like the end of May until mid-July. The main event is the main event. It's the biggest one. It's the most prestigious. It starts early July. You essentially play for 7 days straight. They take a month off and the final tables just happened, right? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there were, I think, 9,500 people in this tournament. So again, like this kid was down to 5K left, which is pretty unprecedented. This isn't like in the 80s where like there were 60 people in it, right? No,
correct.
There's 9,000 plus. Yeah, right. There are 9,000 plus people. And, we mentioned rounders earlier. At the end, Mike mentions it, think about it back then. He mentioned the first place prize then was $1 million. Yeah. It's now 10 million. It's 10x'd. This guy will be good for life because he'll get brand deals and he'll kind of be an ambassador. Plus he has the bracelet, which is awesome.
Yeah,
good for
a lot
him.
of history in that tournament too. A lot of history. I've always loved going to Fremont Street. You go in the Binions where like the original World Series of Poker was. Yeah, like I love to see stuff like that. Doyle back in the day, just absolutely phenomenal poker players. But it's interesting to see where Jeff is right. You didn't get drafted into this. You didn't get vouched for by 10 pros here. You're not in the Grand U. You're not any of the famous guys at this point. You got 10 grand. They'll let you in and you can get after it.
I just want to kind of mention one thing that kind of, as a guy who plays poker, I don't play poker at the level that he does. He's more of like a pro, but like I looked at his Hendon Mob. Hendon Mob tracks every player's earnings.
Yeah.
Like he played a tournament at the Win, the exact tournament that I played. And like it's cool as a player to see this because he is you, he is me, he is anybody that plays poker at any point in their life. He's taken it a little more serious in his first year, but like this is hard to kind of discuss and understand how big this is and how hard it is.
Now, let's keep having fun today, Jeff. I got some good trending topics now. Do you remember yesterday talking about a certain circumstance that why do we have to live with this and why do we have to do this? And we were talking about the WNBA and possibly a guy playing in the WNBA because they don't have any rules and they sort of straddle that line of, I don't want to say anything wrong, even though we know what's right. Here are the ones I like even more, Jeff. And sometimes I talk about it like in the preference of our fandoms, right? I like the Philadelphia 76ers. Damn it, I might watch every single game this year with the excitement. But you know it's not up to par? They have a woman as a lead play-by-play analysis in Kate Scott. I'm not saying, like, she might be a wonderful person. She's just not up to the job. And it just, when I hear it, I just know I don't like it. And maybe I'm in the minority, which I don't think I am just because people can't say that on Twitter. At this point, we can, Jeff, and we do. How about last night, your boy Dave Portnoy? He's right on this one. Each and every year, the Red Sox have like a woman's broadcast. The Red Sox are on a heater right now. If you see the tweets where the Red Sox are like, hey, we got women's night here, and Portnoy was right on it here, and every comment is the same. I have no problem with the women's night for the Sox broadcast, but we can announce the game. It stinks, which means, are they even calling the game? What are they talking about at this point? And why is there a need? And most people are saying like, hey, if you want to do this, have an alt broadcast. Show me Nesson, but give me like Nesson Plus out here where if I want to hear these women talk about the game, I can. Can you imagine sitting down to the game, let me get started and be like, I can't listen because this is grating on my ears, Jeff. Why do we force this, though? Why is there a force into this?
It's the same reason we force a lot of things, because it's wrong nowadays if you say anything against this. And look, we obviously, Dave and I, at least even currently, have our differences. That said, he's 100% right here. And what people will say about Dave is she's a misogynist, she's this and that. Listen, here's again the truth that I've made time and time again. It doesn't matter. No one wants to hear a woman talk about sports. It's the same reason how if I got on here and for the next half hour discussed makeup or whatever, like it's just something we don't want to hear. If I call the police and a woman shows up, I don't feel as safe, period. If I go to if my wife goes to a gynecologist and it's a man, I don't feel good about that. If I go to a daycare for my kid and there's a man working at it, I go to another daycare. There are certain things that certain people shouldn't do. And this is one of them. You make a point about Kate Scott, who does, and it's really hard to understand is they go from such a great announcer,
the best, yes,
to her.
Mark
and it's
Zumoff.
like, well, cool. Now we have like this super exciting team, LeBron, Jaylen Brown, all these different people. And it's like, oh, who's the play-by-play guy? Well, it's not a guy. It's actually a woman, and it's Kate Scott and Ala Abdul Nabi.
Yes.
Like, two of the worst. And it's just
exactly.
It takes a lot out of it. And he's right. I mean, was there anything worse, Donnie, than you're excited for college football, right? Mm-hmm. Game on at noon. You got money on Iowa or
give it to me,
whoever.
ESPN.
And it's and it's Beth Mowins, it sucks. Like, sorry.
Like and it has nothing to do with them personally. But when you just hear it, right off the bat, we're not up to par at this point. You can call all the WNBA gays to your heart's content, man. Get after it. Have fun. Women's softball, absolutely. Jessica Mendoza, didn't need you on Sunday Night Baseball. Love you on women's Olympic softball. Exactly where you should be. If I tune into a WNBA telecast, Jeff, there's a pregame show, all four are women. Calling the game, all are women. Fantastic. I knew exactly what I signed up for. This is the passion. This is what it is. It's not a stay in your lane moment, but there's no need for this to happen here when we know what should be correct. That's all.
Like, there's a real slippery slope. Like, it's really more just play-by-play, too. Like, if you have, like, Molly Karam hosting First Take, like, nobody cares, right? Yeah. Like, it's like you need a good host, you know, and look, we know why Molly Karam's on the broadcast. It's not because she's some sports expert. Taylor Rooks, we get why she's on TV. She's gorgeous. There's nothing wrong with that. They don't want a guy to look like me on TV. You want a girl that looks like her. We get it. Athletes literally melt when she's around. She's that hot. She's literally one of the most perfect human beings ever made. Like, we get it. But when you hear a game and we're watching a game, you want it to be pleasant. I personally, a lot of the time, turn the TV down because it's not just women announcers. Like, there's a lot of male announcers that suck,
there's
too.
There's a lot of bad announcers out there.
Like, Gus Johnson's brutal. Like,
I enjoy Gus. Like, you know who was the best, Jeff? Bill Walton. I know you didn't like that. I love Bill Walton.
No, I don't like him either. He's no better than, you know, the female announcers. I don't like announcers that if you've noticed in my personal life, I'm a very serious person. Okay. I don't like comedy. I fucking hate it, actually. There's certain subjects one of the reasons The Sopranos bothered me, it was too funny. The mafia is a dark topic. It should not be funny. A basketball game involving two number one teams. I don't want some guy talking about cyclamine and dippers. You know, I want you to talk about basketball. And Bill Walton is irritating. God rest his soul. He's passed away. But throw in Gus Johnson. Like, he tries too hard. Just announce the game.
Come on, I know you love Jimmer Fredette, man. When he was calling Jimmer Fredette games, rise and fire, got it. Oh, fantastic, Gus. Come on.
The best announcers to me are John Shambi, Dan Schulman. I like Raftery. He's a nice touch, you know.
You get credibility. That's all we ask for. Just give us credibility where we know what we're getting.
Like, we have to stop putting him on TV now. Dick Vitale, great story. I hope he's okay. Yeah. You know, obviously, my father died from cancer. I have a very serious discussion about that. But Dick Vitale doesn't know what's going on now. Putting him and Shaq on a game or Barkley on a game it's not good. It's not. There's no basketball being talked about.
Yeah. How about this? Let's get to the next one here, Jeff. And this is right up your alley. You see them of the pictures coming out? LaMelo moved from Charlotte up to Minnesota, and now we got pictures of his penthouse. Which, by the way, normally you would see this and be like, what the heck is going on? But most people go, no, that's exactly what is supposed to be going on, and no surprise whatsoever. Like, if they would have showed you this, you'd be like, hey, that's, Mark Cuban's house. You'd be like, what the hell's going on? This is LaMelo's house? And you go, yeah, that's LaMelo's house. Yep.
His house, good for him. I mean,
couple $100 million in the bank. Like, you'll get bored, and you're a kid. Like, you're just going to do hey, here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, like, what a cool life. Like, would it be like how I'd want my house to look? No. But like, I have a house that people belittled. They didn't like how it was. It's my house. I like it. You know,
who belittled your house? Give me that story.
Oh, it was a rental. It you know, but like, people want to talk shit. I actually love LaMelo. I always have. I'm a big fan of that family. I'll tell you what. His, I believe it's his girlfriend. They haven't gotten married yet. His girlfriend has a podcast. Very interesting. She's an interesting lady. I like LaMelo a lot. I think his house is cool. It's what he likes. You know, we have to stop pretending that it's our ability and job to critique people's personal lives. Who do you think you are?
I'm telling you. Because, like, people will see that and be like, this is crazy. But he's a young kid with hundreds of millions of dollars. But what would you rather see him, though? Have, like, a rack of guns in there? Like, what would you rather have? Like, the dude just like, hey, I'm bored one day. Let me get some things in it. Like, it's a Dave & Buster's in his house.
But it wouldn't matter, though. If he was, let's say he had a really classy home with a lot of, like, architectural cool design, they would belittle that. When will you understand these fucking people that watch this stuff and comment on it hate everything? They hate everything. And it's not because they actually hate it,
Jeff.
Yeah, they just don't. They just want to bitch about everything. If I cured cancer tomorrow or LaMelo cured cancer tomorrow, they would bitch that it wasn't done fast enough. The internet is a cesspool that doesn't actually matter. And LaMelo, every day he wakes up, he is one. And that's great for him. That's all that really matters.
Some other trending topics out here. Anthony Davis. Yeah, he's still around making a lot of money. But how about this? The Wizards, are they taking a hard line here, Jeff? Will not have contract extension talks until during next season. Even if 2026-2027 starts well for Davis and the team, It's reasonable to speculate for both sides that they find themselves far apart on an extension. Why? Because you're seeing these numbers, Jeff. Guys that are like, wait, we think he's a good player. 5 for like $400 million? Yeah, we'll hold off on that one, pal.
Yeah, you talked about earlier Aaron Donald kind of getting irritated at times.
Yes.
This is a guy that annoys me. Like a guy who like never plays, like he's always hurt. I mean, Donnie, are you aware? Like look at his career.
Yeah,
like he's played more than 50 games once in like the last 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Like he doesn't play. Like
he gets carted off. They make fun of him. Great player when he's out there, no doubt about it. Great college basketball player, but now you take a look. And it used to just like you auto print these guys. Like, okay, yeah, it's like 5 years, $200 million, that's what it is. But you are seeing some contracts, Jeff, where these owners are now going like, look, even though it's an extension and you're supposed to get it, I need something out of this one. Because hey, let's give you an extension now. And he goes down. He's like, I'm going to play 30 games this year, making $80 million a year. No, I'm sorry. Nope, zero.
Yeah, I mean, they will not have contract. That's fine, but he will have them, and he'll bitch and whine and complain. This guy's just he complains about everything.
By the way, in Philadelphia, Jeff, they're going to have a press conference finally for Jaylen Brown coming to the Sixers. Tyrese Maxey are in a picture beating LeBron to the gym, asking where he's at. They've all been working out together. Not just this year, Jeff. They've worked out together quite a bit in the past. But let me also double down on this. Was it weird that LeBron James chose the Sixers and they didn't have like an introductory press conference? Why was that? Why didn't we get that?
Yeah, I wondered that myself.
Yeah.
It does worry me a bit that they're kind of like they kind of do what he says. I feel like they're going to be
like he didn't want happy. It. He didn't want it. Yes.
Like they're just to me, they're just happy that he's here and they'll let him do what he wants. Like again, like I just don't think that's the right way to be. Like, no, we're a professional organization.
Yeah.
We don't care if you're Donald Trump or some random guy on the street. You show up, you do an introductory press conference, you answer questions. I think this is the stuff about LeBron that irritates people. It's like he always has to do it his way.
Yeah.
And I think the Sixers like are kind of in a weird way, like they don't want to piss him off because God forbid he says, you know what, F this team, I ain't coming here. Like he would do that probably, right? Yeah. So I don't think they want to piss him off. But yeah, I did think that was odd. Like, will he talk to anyone? Like,
I don't know. Like, is he going to take no questions? Like, I'm waiting for, like, is he going to move to Philly? Is he moving is he hooping up in the area? Are we just going to see him in, like, what, September 28th or whatever it is when they open training camp?
Worst case scenario, he doesn't ever actually play here.
Oh, come on, stop.
Where is he?
Nobody said, like, golfing, Jeff. He's out there like, golfing all over the place. Yeah.
No, but let me ask you: when you're on the Eagles or the Chiefs or any NBA team, whatever, and you get traded or you sign somewhere,
yes,
don't like the next day you go to the
2 to 3 days maximum, Jeff. Maximum.
Where the hell is he?
Yeah, and it wasn't like, hey, we signed KCP. Like, well, we're not going to have a press conference for you. Like, we might have you available by Skype. But you get LeBron James. Like, don't you want to like have like a bus travel around the city and like meet everybody? You know, come on.
Yeah, I do find the situation to be really weird. And it's like, well, it's LeBron. You know, he could do it. And it's like, well, no, like he still is an employee.
We're still signing his paycheck,
team.
And he's an employee. Yes, correct.
Like, I'm being dead serious. Has he signed the contract yet?
Yes.
Yeah. Have we seen it?
No.
Like usually like, but if Jalen Hurts signs a contract, they do that like tweet where it's like, hey, here's Jalen.
Like Saquon came to the Eagles and it was a huge deal. And they had the cameras out when he arrived at the facility like 8 hours later. Family was there. Kid was there. Hey, look, here's the rendering of your uniform. Fantastic. Let's get pictures of you signing.
I want this to be clipped. Yeah. Where the hell is LeBron James? Has he been to Philadelphia yet? Has he signed anything? Has he actually seen the city from a plane or helicopter? Where is he? Like, I know the season isn't.
Now, Jeff, this picture, though, I want to say, like, I'm not familiar with the Sixers practice facility, but it looks like it's the cursive that they would use for Philadelphia on the baseline. So do you see what I mean? Like, look at the cursive right there. We don't know if it's blue, which is what the Sixers court will be. I'm looking more towards center court. I assume it's a 76, but you can't tell. But I'm assuming this is Camden, New Jersey. I'm assuming it's Camden, New Jersey.
This is such a pathetic picture in a way, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
This reminds me of like when someone's drunk on a Friday night and like they'll at me and be like, "Hey, bro, I'm having a Stella. Where are you?" And it's like, I'll hit the like button, but like LeBron doesn't even respond to this. Like it's almost like a little child waiting for his dad to come home. Hey, Dad, when are you coming home? Like, where the hell is LeBron? Seriously,
let me get some clout. Hey, Dad, why didn't you let me know? Why didn't you hit me back at this point? Like, I'm not worried about you like, working out here, man. Come on.
It's almost like he's a little child waiting for Pop to come home and throw the football around or shoot some hoops. Like, where the hell is LeBron James? Does anyone know? Is he just going to show up like a day before training camp starts?
Exactly.
Also,
take the mic. Yep. Boom.
We talked about that kid yesterday with the tattoo. Mm-hmm. I've made contact with him.
What was the outcome?
He asked me, "Do you want to do some content together?" I guess he knows who I am, but like, I'm going to ask him. Like, we should have him on for like 5 minutes, right?
Just to say, just to show the tag.
I want to see the
reason behind it.
Yeah.
Maybe we got some time for that. Maybe we do. But it's another day in the can here, Jeff. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday down. Tomorrow's Friday. Another weekend, but we do have NFL action tonight. We sort of handicap the game as best as you possibly can, but get ready when the regular season starts for Cap'n City, baby, on this show. We're going to do it big tomorrow, Jeff. The Green Bay Packers are on the horizon for a team of the day as we go day by day, getting you ready for the NFL season. Go ahead. What do you got?
Also going to give a little tease here, Donnie. Mm-hmm. We're going to do a top 5, but it's going to be a Nadu top 5 list that Donnie won't know about.
Oh, wait. I can't even, how am I going to introduce it then tomorrow?
Okay, well, you will know about it, but you don't know it now. I'll tell you later about it.
Gotcha. There we go. Top 5
I don't
tomorrow.
know what it's going to be.
Green Bay Packers tomorrow. Nate, off the top of his head, you never know. But that's a specialty about a Friday. It's Crossing Lines. Crossing X Lines here on social media. Thank you guys for hitting the subscribe button. Love you in the chat box. Bringing it every day. Huge things on the horizon, as you see. Like and subscribe at Donnie Rightside, at Jeff Nadu. It's what we do. We're Crossing Lines, and we'll see you tomorrow for Hell Yeah, Football Friday.